Question I did have for you, and it kind of goes back to yesterday's game. Were Arsenal robbed, or did they just run out of ideas?
You can't be robbed if you didn't have something. If you had a goal and then that VAR overturned it, then it was the wrong decision, you've been robbed. Therefore, you had something and they took it away.
Well, you
If
won.
you haven't got
In my opinion, you won at least one clear
the
penalty.
Gabriel one, nailed on, mate. That is a penalty. 100%. I said this on my fan cam. Yeah, that was a nailed on penalty. And if you look earlier in that game, Odegaard got booked in the first half for a shirt pull. Yeah, I think it was on Joel Linton in the centre circle. He tugged his shirt, just a little pull. This guy literally nearly ripped the shirt off of him. How can that be a yellow card in the centre circle, but that's not a yellow card in a penalty? That makes no sense, right? And this is like Arsenal fans will sit there and say we've been robbed, and everyone's putting, oh, we've been robbed. Oh, poor Arsenal. VAR was against us. Well, VAR wasn't against us at Crystal Palace when Gabriel handballed it. Blatant handball. Weren't against us against Liverpool when he blatantly handballed it as well. So let's slow down a little bit. Like, at the end of the day, VAR, we all know, is trash, which is why most of us didn't want it in the game in the first place. But let's not forget, Terry, we had 96 minutes to score a goal and we scored none. So let's not rely on referees and VAR because we know they're trash anyway. Yeah, how about relying on ourselves? If you rely on yourself, yeah, then you don't have to worry about referees, do you? And the fact is, that manager last night looked at his bench and thought, nah, not good enough. Maybe he was sending a signal to the board. I don't know. Maybe he was saying no. Maybe he's just sitting there thinking, well, I don't really want to put Vieira on because Odegaard's played really well in the last couple of weeks, even though he dropped a stinker last night. But he could unlock the door. I don't want to take Saka off for Marquinhos just in case, because Saka's scored loads of goals as well this season. He's playing great. Yeah. Oh, I don't really want to take Martinelli off because who do I put on the left? Like, Terry, when Arsenal fans were sitting here jumping for joy in the transfer market in the summer, giving it 9 out of 10 and 8 out of 10, and I was sitting there saying we needed 3-4 more players, I was called toxic. Now we need 3 or 4 more players. Who knew?
I think, obviously, Lee, we all know the issue with you. And I mean it's in a polite way.
It's the delivery of how I say it, Terry.
It's how you say things. It's how you say things. And I mean, I probably get at least 10 messages a week after our shows going, love the Terrace, love what you do, but I can't watch shows with Leon. And I always reply to them in the same way, where I'm like, but we make on average 3 bits of content per day on YouTube, and there's more that's coming out on other platforms soon. Like, not every bit of content is for everyone. And you're not everybody's cup of tea, but there are lots of Arsenal fans that agree with what you say. I look at it more like, I don't listen to how you say things. I listen to what it is you're saying. And sometimes I also know you're saying things just to tease and wind a few individual people up, as it were. Like, it's an obvious thing that we can all see from a mile away. But yeah, look, I kind of look at this. I feel you were robbed last night. And I do get the idea that Arsenal, run out of some ideas. I understand that. I don't think it was not a bad message, but the fact I think he should have given Vieira and somebody else a chance, tried something new, tried something different. So I think Arteta, I say, made some mistakes as well. But just put the penalties aside. The yellow card situation. I'm someone that actually thinks yellow cards should be given 20 seconds into a game if they're yellow card offences. I don't agree that having players sent off ruins football. For me, not sending people off ruins a game because you're not. It means you're bending laws when it suits you. And that's never made any sense to me, especially as a fan of an elite club. Generally, Man United, most of my life have been an elite club, or in most games are the favourites. Even in our 10 years of shit after Fergie, we are the favourites in most games we play, according to the bookmakers anyway. When I see one of my players dragged down after 30 seconds when we're on a counter-attack, I want that player booked because I don't want him to have any opportunity to do it again. So I didn't really mind that the ref was booking people early. It's then he realized, oh, God, now that I've booked one player for a shirt pull, I'm going to have to book everybody for a shirt pull, and he stopped doing it. So what you started to see is the game, he was giving too many fouls, then he wasn't booking people, and the game became really bitty. I think the ball was only in play for the whole match for 42 minutes. The average in the Premier League is 55. So you're talking 13 minutes less game time than the average match in the Premier League. Wow. Then you throw in the penalties, and you sort of look at it and think, he broke the flow of the game far more with his management. He would have been better off letting things go and not giving them as fouls than the level of fouls he did without punishing people. And I just thought to myself, look, you could argue it the other way as well. I mean, some say Xhaka should have gone on the 60th minute. And a lot of Newcastle fans have thrown that out there, and I think it's fair. But the two penalties to me, I thought both handballs were penalties. And I'm only being consistent with a penalty that I thought Man United should have got three or 4 days ago for a handball against Wolves. I thought they were very similar. I feel like what players have learned to do with this whole natural body position is, as long as a hand is by their side or up here now, they turn their bodies in certain ways and they get an elbow out, or they you know, like, remember the old way of bowling when you were a kid? It was 1 step, 2 step, 3 step dip, right? I see defenders doing that when balls get hit now. They keep the hand by the side and they dip, and then it hits the hand by their side, and they're saying it ain't handball because it's in a natural position. It's like the way the man threw himself down. I did think you were slightly robbed last night because it was a close game. This wasn't a match where you missed 10 sitters and they didn't have an opportunity at goal. It was a really close game, but there were 2 occasions where they had to foul you or commit an offense to stop you from creating a goal scoring opportunity. It should have been given. There wasn't as many, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of Chelsea-Barcelona. In that game, there was, I think, 4 incidents rather than 2, but it was almost like, how many more is he not going to give? Like, it just felt like in the end, the referee was not going to give a decision that could be the decisive factor.
Terry, we shouldn't be sitting relying on a decision. If Eddie Nketiah scores, nobody cares.
True. I understand that point.
And then in the first half, we had 1 shot on target. Yeah, by the end of the game, we had 4. One of them was a 25-yard P-roller from Granit Xhaka. Yeah, so we had 2 legitimate chances in the second half that were on target. Yeah, I think one of them was from Martinelli, I think, or Saka, one of the 2. And then the other one was the Eddie chance. So what did we really create in the game? Nothing. Yeah, but if Eddie scores, nobody's moaning about the ref. The difference is we hardly created anything. The creative spark that's been the creative spark for the last 7-8 weeks or 7-8 games went missing last night. Yes, and then when people are asking for apology, oh, you should apologize to Odegaard. Do me a favor. Like, come on. Yeah, he's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, from about 4 games in to now, 4 or 5 games in till now. Yeah, but let's be real. As soon as it's a big game like that, he disappears, and he has done every big game we've played pretty much. Like Man United, where was he? That was a big game. He disappeared. Like, you know, it's crazy, Terry. As soon as our team gets pressed, like Thomas Partey last night, like people were saying, oh, he was brilliant. Really? He was brilliant for 25 minutes. After what, you classing 25 minutes of a game now as a great game? It's like these people that go, oh, but he got an assist. Yeah, what did he do for the rest of the game? Nothing. Oh, but he had a great game. He got an assist. You've got to base it on a 90-minute performance, right? And in that 90 minutes or 96 minutes, whatever it was, we weren't good enough. Yeah, we weren't good enough. And it was like, it's all well and good Arteta running around giving it to Eddie Howe and jumping up and down crying to the 4th official. Yeah, why didn't you make some subs, mate? Why did Zinchenko stay on the pitch for the whole game? Why? He offers nothing offensively. People go, yeah, but you don't understand football. He cuts inside, he gets inside, and it causes an overload. We needed Kieran Tierney on the pitch. You could have brought Vieira on the pitch and dropped. We could have took Zinchenko off, brought Tierney on. We then could have dropped Granit Xhaka to where Zinchenko was playing, right? And we could have moved Martinelli further in field and played Tierney on the left wing. There was things we could have done in that game, Terry, that would have changed the flow of the game. We could have put Saliba or Gabriel up front for the last 10 minutes. Why do you need 2 or 3 defenders marking Chris Wood? Like, come on. Yeah, he was playing at the end of that game not to lose, rather than going to win it. And he was hoping that the players that were on the pitch would get him out of jail, because he didn't have a good performance himself last night, Arteta. So it's easy to blame a referee for a penalty that we should have had or not had. Yeah, the fact and reality is we had 96 minutes and we had 4 shots on target. 2 of which, were little P rollers. The first one in the first half, I can't even remember. And the only one of any note was the Eddie Nketiah chance. So let's just stop blaming refs. Like, at the end of the day, yeah, we should have had a penalty, at least one. Yeah, the second one I can kind of see why he never gave it, because his arm was out here though, and it hit him here. But his arms out here as he's down here, he's super low down. So maybe he's putting his arms out to stop when he's falling, to protect himself, which is cool because you've got to cushion the blow, yeah? So I can kind of understand that not being given, but I think it was a penalty. The Gabriel one, nailed on, 100%, that's a pen. But that deflects it away from the fact we made one sub. And that was a right back for a right back when you're at home, 0-0,
I
trying to
agree.
win the game.
I agree with that point. I think some more subs should be made. I thought personally Zinchenko had a good game. I thought he was doing well. He made a lot of passes that broke the lines. He made a lot of passes that got you inside. That doesn't mean, though, that Tierney shouldn't have come on. Your manager should have done something. So I kind of get where you're coming from there, but I do think Zinchenko had a good game. Odegaard, I wanted to ask you about him. You said he's not a big game player. I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans in the last few days state that he is the best midfielder or the best player in the Premier League right now.
Well, I said on the West Ham and the Brighton game, after them two games, as we first came back to football after the World Cup, he has been the best player in the league. But then he goes and drops a 0 out of 10 last night. Like, what was he doing? Genuinely, Tate, I did not know he was on the pitch in the second half. Yeah, I did not know he was on the pitch. What was he doing? Where was the creativity? Where was the running with the ball? Where was the nice little passes? Like, and this is why I don't overhype players, Terry. It's very easy to sit and go, oh, yeah, we're great. We're talking like there was somebody in the chat a couple of minutes ago, oh, why are you moaning? We're 8 points clear. I'll tell you why I'm moaning, mate, because Newcastle never score at the Emirates. They ain't beaten us for 12 years. Yeah, and that was an opportunity to go 10 clear. If City beat Chelsea, yeah, and even though they're not both playing great at the minute, you'd probably make City favourites, even though it's at the Bridge. If City win that, they're 5 behind. And I know it's all ifs. If they beat us twice, they're above us. Well, if we had won the game last night and that all happened, they'd still be behind us. Yeah. Find margins, Terry. If you want to win the title, you've got to do. And people say, yeah, but you can't win every game. Well, you can't when you only make one sub. Yeah, at home to a team that don't even want to attack. Find a way. How many times have we watched football over the years? Yeah, and not even other leagues, Premier League. Man City find a way. And then people go, oh, but Man City have got better players. And find a way. If you want to be considered title challengers, find a way. Because all of a sudden, you've got Man United fans, and I know it's all reactionary, sitting there 9 points behind Arsenal. Terry, if at the start of the season, if you had said at this stage, nearly halfway through, Man United would be 9 points behind Arsenal, everyone would have laughed because of the flying start. And listen, we didn't lose the game, but the start that you lot had, Man U were creeping up and creeping up and creeping up and creeping up, and nobody's even giving them any attention. And all of a sudden, they're level with Newcastle on points. They're joint third.
Well, look, I think there's. Listen, I think that I think
they've got us and City in their next two games.
Yeah, look, I think Arsenal fans should be disappointed with not winning last night, and I think Arsenal fans have just got to learn to be. Some Arsenal fans have got to learn to be grown-ups. That you can criticize not winning or some mistakes within a game without throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And again, I think that there were some different things with hindsight, especially when you calm down, you reflect the next day, that Arteta could have done differently in the game. It's probably in-game decision-making from certain players. I would have done this, I would have done that, you know, that could have made the game a little bit different. But it's about learning from that and kind of moving on to the next point.